Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Euphoria Podcast. I am your host, Zaire Young, and I welcome you to the start of something truly, truly amazing. But before I get into all the nitty gritty of what this place is about, let me introduce myself for the people who don't know me or have never seen me before. My name is Zaire Young, or Zay for short, and I am a 16-year-old high school sophomore who is currently making her way through life just like everybody else, living in the moment as life moves, finding things and people that make me most happiest, and finding how to love myself in a world just full of all kinds of different people. And documenting it online for thousands and millions of billions of people to see. Nice to meet you. I hope you enjoy the Euphoria podcast, and let's get started, shall we? Okay, so let me start with our socials and forms of communication. In this podcast, we will have discussions that are interactive with you guys. So if you guys are interested in being part of our interactive discussions, you can go follow us on the Instagram at Euphoria Podcast Official. Link is in the description below, and that is where it will stay from now on. Um, my Instagram will also be in the description if you want to be interactive with me and everything that goes on behind the podcast. I also have a YouTube channel for all my long form girlies who all like to watch long form videos and want to interact with me and see my daily life and what truly goes on behind the camera, even though it is behind a camera. The links to all socials will be in the description, and that is where they will live from now on. So without further ado, let's get into what Euphoria Podcast is all about. Okay. This first podcast will be scripted because I wanted to make sure that I covered all the topics that I wanted to talk about. But from this point on, any episode will not be scripted, unscripted, uncut, unedited completely. The only edits that will be made in this podcast is the intro being put in the video. That's it. That's literally it. So obviously, like everyone else here, you're new to the podcast, and if you don't follow my Instagram or haven't subscribed to my YouTube, which you should go do right now, you would have known that I have been planning this podcast down to the frame speed you are watching right now. I have taken time to curate the perfect segments, discussion topics, posting schedules, and even the profile you can submit requests, confessions, secrets, and questions. Now, majority of the time, there will be a link to the Google Forms in the bio of our Instagram page where you can submit answers to me based off of the week's segment. Speaking of segments, let's talk about all the different types of segments we will be having and what they will consist of. I have a list of segments already planned, so each segment will be for like different things on life. So, going as far as school life, mental health, self love, self care, spirituality slash religion slash culture, and just so much more. One of our segments is called Hall Pass Horror Stories. Ooh, I know. Now, we don't actually mean horror stories, but in this context, it might as well be a horror story. This is a segment where you guys can submit embarrassing stories or occurrences that has happened to you or either anonymously or not, and we will read them out on the episode of that week, laugh about it, talk about it, and just have fun with that. We will also be ranking it based off of the context and the weirdness of it. It will be placed on a tier based off how we would feel if we were in that exact same situation. Now, it doesn't have to be just embarrassing moments. It can also be awkward moments, friendship drama, etc., etc. Okay. And then our next subject is called spirituality snacks or spiritual snacks, whichever one. This segment is based off religion, spirituality, healing, culture. No matter what religion you practice or what you're healing from, this is a time where we can all learn about different religions and living practices, and where we can also learn about different cultures in general. So you guys can also submit response for this and submit like little excerpts or information about your religion, what you practice, and also a little bit about where you're from and what your culture is like slash famous for. Um, this is also a time for healing, so we will be doing a lot of trauma healing. I don't mean like physical trauma, but also mental and emotional trauma. This is where we will get a little vulnerable and open. I understand that most people will feel uncomfortable sharing their trauma with names and faces, so you guys definitely 100% do not have to share. You can either share anonymously or not at all. If we would rather listen and engage or listen and not engage in sharing, that is absolutely totally fine. Of course, we must say that we are not licensed therapists, okay, or mental health specialists. We are just people who understand. So we cannot give our information or our advice cannot replace any medical procedure or medical thing you have going on. It cannot replace that. We are not that professional, okay? This podcast is not to replace any medical procedure or help. We welcome you with we welcome you all with open arms, no matter how strong or severe the trauma, even if it's mild or barely there. Your trauma is your trauma, and your emotions are valid, and we validate those emotions. Okay. For our next segment, I am genuinely excited about this one because I have been through so many things we will talk about. And two, I know there are the teens and the queens who have been through it too. And if you haven't, you will. You will. Okay. This segment is called Crushes and Crystals. Oh my gosh. This segment is where we talk about our crushes, past and present, heartbreak and how to deal with it, self-worth and how to find it and showcase it, etc., etc. Like every other segment, you guys can submit responses for that as well as asking for advice. You don't have to give context on who this person is. You don't have to drop names. You can just ask for advice. Give us the situation and ask us for advice. That's literally it. Oh my god, I feel like I've been talking for an hour. Okay. The next segment, we will have like three more after this one. I need water. Okay. This next segment is called Detention Diaries. Now, I don't mean like actual detention because I know a few of you have had detention before. Don't be smart. I've had detention before. This is where you guys can publish answers and responses about things that you will never admit to anyone. The things you wouldn't even admit to tell your dog. You might not tell your dog, but you're gonna tell me and everyone else watching the episode. Okay, y'all. We're almost there. The last one, the very last one. This one is called the Glow Up Files. This segment is where you guys, again, submit responses on times where you have felt powerful and you felt like you were the main character. Whether it be a time you confessed to a crush, put on a cute outfit, or got a compliment that you've never gotten before. Share these stories and share how they made you feel afterwards. Of course, we will talk about them and share our own stories as well as give advice on how to feel confident, even if it's not receiving a compliment from somebody else or putting on a cute outfit. Just in general terms, I woke up this morning and I just immediately felt confident. Like stuff like that. We will give tips. Y'all, we are finally at the end. And honestly, now that I've gotten here, I'm actually kind of sad because the episode is now over. It's basically almost over. But is it me or did I just create a plethora of segments and I feel like I wouldn't be able to keep up? Anyways, we're finally at the end of the first episode. I feel like you guys are probably asking, who's we? Well, we is a term I am using because as this podcast grows and progresses, I will be having little guests on here as well. It might be my friends, it might be some students at my school, it might be blah blah blah, etc., etc. And they will come up and share their stories, share their advice, share this, share that, share blah blah blah, and just join in on the fun that is the Euphoria podcast. We is also me and you guys, because though I am your host and you will see me every episode, you guys will also be here every episode. It's a we here. We are fun. You know what I mean? So I genuinely feel like this is going to be a good thing for me and the viewers watching and listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and every episode after this because I'm excited. I'm like genuinely excited. Like But to remind you guys, our Instagram, my YouTube channel, and everything else that you probably need will be in the description below so you don't have to go far. As always, with love, I am your host, Zaire Young, and I will see you guys next week. Mwah.